So on August 17th, Craneballs released a major update that adds a lot of things to Planet Nomads and fixes some major headaches that previously existed within the game. While it didn't completely change the way the game was played, it did make a lot of things more enjoyable to do and also broke everyone's saves. So let's take a look at update 0.7. The most important, and for the people that spend a lot of time working on their worlds, most annoying change in this version is the complete overhaul of the terrain generator. All of the caves and holes in the game have been replaced with deep pits that will still get your vehicle stuck, but will at least give you a little bit of hope of escaping. This change was much needed in the game, as it often seemed like walking was the most efficient mode of travel because you didn't have to risk getting your entire mobile base trapped in a hole. Even though the winch and shackle alleviated a lot of these problems, they still didn't do enough to make driving fun. They also added a new starting biome, a temperate plain that varies the starting world a little bit more. The other major benefit of this overhaul is the massive increase in performance that this brought. It is now no longer possible to die from the terrain generator spawning a tree on top of you, because you can no longer outrun it. Unfortunately, it also meant that the old worlds needed to be converted into the new engine, which destroyed everything that you might have built. Don't sweat it though, if you chose to continue the world that you were on, there will be a chest of all your resources next to your drop pod. The next major change to the game is its revamp of the animal AI. Each herd of creatures is split into different types of animals: males, females, younglings, and alpha males, with each having their own personality. Alpha males are more aggressive and will venture further from their nest, while males tend to stay a bit closer to the nest but still act as protectors. Females are a lot less aggressive and tend to stay near their younglings, which stay near the herd and are a lot less aggressive. The most recent Nomadic Journals episode goes a little bit more in depth on this, but the animals also explore their environment differently and have hunting grounds they will venture out into. Also, different climates will have different breeds of the same species that might be stronger than their starting biome counterparts. Along with that, they have different appearances in order to blend into their surroundings better. Also, animals now have wounds and bleed when attacked, which get worse as they take more damage. When they die, they have a new ragdoll effect that makes their fall look a little more natural and less robotic. For the longest time, animals were arguably one of the weakest links in Planet Nomads, and this update fleshed them out enough that they do a little bit more than pace around all day. However, the animals aren't the only things you need to watch out for when exploring. This planet now has a handful of harmful plants that can kill you if you're not careful enough. There's this plant which will release small flies that continuously attack you until you move out of range. There's this plant which explodes when you come near it. There's this plant that shoots projectiles at you if you're within range. And finally, there's this plant that just attacks you when you touch it. With my Mark III exploration suit on, I didn't really find the plants to be too menacing. I could see where they could take out a low health player, or kill somebody that just had no clue that they were being attacked, but even with an unupgraded exploration suit, they're not that much of a problem. Really, just steer clear of them or take them out if they're near your home. If you're super worried about it, pack a couple bandages when you go out. Now, the addition I find most interesting in this version is the emergence of a storyline and lore. When starting a new world, there's a cutscene before the pod drops that sets the story to exist around 2081, 10 years after a major breakthrough in interstellar travel that allows humans to travel to nearby stars. The basic gist of the story so far is that scientists found a system that might be capable of sustaining life, so they sent terraformers out to explore the nearby planets. There's also crash sites and bases left behind that contain the journals of a biochemist Manicourt and a geoengineer Delgado, which are likely part of the group that was sent to colonize the local planets. However, while I haven't gotten far into the journals, Manicourt's log seems to imply that maybe the planet we're on wasn't the intended destination of the group. I want to collect some more information and possibly cover this in the future, but as it currently stands, there's nothing that implies your role on the planet. Hopefully as time goes on we'll be able to figure this out, but until then we're just going to have to keep exploring and waiting for the endgame to be finished. Aside from those major points, there's a handful of other small things included with this update. You can now press J for a data pad that contains all your found journals, as well as information on blocks you've crafted and animals you've killed. Much of this information is pretty basic, but it's nice to at least have it as a reference. You can now purify water with carbon instead of herbs, thank God. There's some new music. There's some new localizations. Stasis chambers now replenish more food and water. The rifle's damage has been increased, and the planet's a little smaller to blend in the biomes a little bit better. There's been a couple of small fixes, but that's pretty much it. Even though this update doesn't completely change the core of the game, it does signify a new direction of the game. No longer is the game being developed as a tech demo or sandbox, but is now being developed into a full standalone game. It seems that Planet Nomads has finally found a direction and solidified its foundation, which is going to help it grow into a more unique and distinct game in the future. Hopefully as time goes on, the mid to late game will start to be fleshed out more so that there's actually something to work towards. Until then, we're going to have to keep exploring. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.